after my dad died, my mom found out that we had $400 in the bank.
Really?
And she had $400 in the bank, that was it.
I wasn't born in this country. I didn't grow up in any one particular religion. I have a mixed race background, and I'm gay.
That's just like, I think it's just kind of like a thing in our family, you know? Like that's, like hip hop was such a huge part of my childhood. And
Did you know that some very famous celebrities are black? I mean, from actors in the likes of Wentworth Miller from Prison Break.
I grew up in what I would call survival mode. When you're in survival mode, your focus is on getting through the day in one piece.
To pop Princess Halsey.
Black Creators Funding Initiative we started right at the beginning of the quarantine. It's something I've wanted to do for a really long time, and you know, we kind of just got a little kick to get it done faster this year.
There's also actual royalty, the Duchess of Sussex, well, actress turned royalty.
But if you don't think I have a basis for all the you've pulled over the years I've been here,
To surprising backgrounds of musicians like superstar guitarist Slash, Anyway, today, we're diving into 20 celebrities you never knew were black. Starting with Jennifer Beals' rise to fame is just as thrilling as her iconic role in Flashdance. Born in Chicago, Beals had a cool mix of cultures with an African-American dad and an Irish-American mom. Her dad, Alfred, ran grocery stores, while her mom, Jean, taught at an elementary school. Sadly, her dad passed away when she was just 9, which left a big mark on her.
Literally, after my dad died, my mom found out that we had $400 in the bank.
Really?
And she had $400 in the bank, that was it.
Jennifer has opened up about her journey as a biracial kid, growing up with a black dad and a white mom. She shared that she often felt out of place and faced challenges because of her mixed roots. Living in a mostly African-American neighborhood, she sometimes got teased and felt like she didn't quite fit in.
So you can imagine, like, everybody's processing this and in their own way, and it's usually not, well, it's not an easy thing to do when you're all shoved in the back seat.
She's also talked about how, back in the day, there weren't many people on screen who looked like her, making it tough to find relatable role models. But instead of letting that hold her back, Jennifer embraced her unique identity and now uses her platform to tackle important issues about race and representation. Quincy Jones's daughter is a brilliant actress, but privilege plus mixed race makes for an interesting identity crisis. Cocktail, Rashida Jones is up next.
gnarly. Well, actually, we looked at a 2-bedroom in Brooklyn Heights right now. For you two?
Rashida Jones was basically destined for stardom from the start. Born in LA to music legend Quincy Jones and actress Peggy Lipton, she grew up surrounded by pure Hollywood royalty. With a dad who produced for icons like Michael Jackson and Frank Sinatra, and a mom who starred in the Mod Squad, talent was just in her DNA.
That's just like, I think it's just kind of like a thing in our family, you know? Like that's, like hip hop was such a huge part of my childhood. And
She's opened up about her identity and experiences, saying she's totally cool with who she is, but she gets that other people sometimes struggle to put her in a box because of her mixed background.
I originally wanted to go to Brown because like I wanted to join like a black sorority and like go that direction. When I got to Harvard, I tried to do that right away, and I kind of got ousted by like a couple kids.
She went to Harvard, Harvard, majoring in religion and philosophy, and graduated in '97. But instead of diving into academia, she was drawn to the arts. In Hollywood, she's faced her own set of challenges, often finding that roles don't quite fit her. Too black for one part, too white for another. But instead of letting that get her down, she's embraced her unique story and keeps pushing forward in her career, refusing to let anyone else's opinions hold her back. You remember Michael Scofield?
Just trying to fly low, avoid the radar, boss. Do my time and get out.
Wentworth Miller, aka the genius Michael Scofield from Prison Break, has a background just as fascinating as his TV character. He was born in England to American parents, but his heritage is a whole mix. His dad's got African-American, Jamaican, German, and English roots, while his mom's side includes everything from Swedish to Lebanese ancestry. Basically, a global mashup.
I wasn't born in this country. I didn't grow up in any one particular religion. I have a mixed race background, and I'm gay.
When Miller was just a baby, his family packed up and moved to Brooklyn. He later ended up at Princeton, where he snagged a degree in English Lit. But instead of diving into the literary world, Miller headed straight for Hollywood to chase that acting dream.
I grew up in what I would call survival mode. When you're in survival mode, your focus is on getting through the day in one piece.
In interviews, he's opened up about the ups and downs of being biracial and how crucial representation is. He even played a light-skinned black guy in the movie The Human Stain, diving deep into themes of race and identity. Plus, he's been transparent about his mental health struggles and his journey to self-acceptance. Next on our list today is Troian Bellisario.
Are you sure? Because you look very familiar.
Oh, that's probably because I've been delivering packages to your office for the last 2 months.
Troian Bellisario's got entertainment in her blood. Born in LA to TV producer Donald P. Bellisario and actress Deborah Pratt, Troian's got a mix of Italian, Serbian, and African-American roots. Talk about a rich cultural background.
It's afternoon, and I have to make those campaign calls.
Yeah, I've been pretty distracted the last few days.
Being raised in a showbiz fam meant Troian was acting from practically the get-go. She made her debut at just 3 in Last Rites, a movie her dad directed. But she didn't let that early start stop her from getting her education. She went on to graduate from USC with a Bachelor of Fine Arts. Bellisario has talked about how she bottled up a lot of feelings when she was younger, which kind of led to some self-destructive habits. Plus, she's mentioned the pressure of growing up in a high-achieving fam and the super intense atmosphere of her college prep school. All these experiences have shaped her path to figuring out who she is and learning to accept herself. Another woman who has talked about having to learn to accept herself is Halsey.
Tell me how's it feel, sitting up there, feeling so high, but
Halsey, born Ashley Nicolette Frangipani, is the pop queen who's been shaking up the music scene since she dropped onto the radar. Born in Edison, New Jersey in 1994, she's got a mix of African-American, Italian, Hungarian, and Irish roots that totally influences her artistry. Halsey totally identifies as a black woman, but she's also aware that she can sometimes come off as white passing, which means people often see her as white at first glance. She's opened up about the complicated layers of her identity, saying that while her looks give her some perks, she still feels a strong connection to her black roots. Halsey feels it's important to use her voice to uplift the black community and tackle issues of racial injustice.
The Black Creators Funding Initiative we started right at the beginning of the quarantine. It's something I've wanted to do for a really long time, and we kind of just got a little kick to get it done faster this year.
In her interviews, she's mentioned that sometimes she feels a bit disconnected from her black culture because of how she looks, but she's super proud of where she comes from and works hard to live her truth.
I'm the kind of guy that just plays within the pocket and tries to be a part of the team, so simple works best for me.
We have superstar rocker Pete Wentz, next Pete Wentz. Yeah, the dude from Fall Out Boy with all the killer lyrics and bass riffs, was born Peter Louis Kingston Wentz III on June 5th, 1979 in Wilmette, Illinois. His family's got some cool mixed heritage going on. Dad's got English and German roots, while mom's Afro-Jamaican. Safe to say, Pete's upbringing wasn't your average suburban story. Raised in a well-off Chicago suburb, Pete was surrounded by all kinds of influences. His grandpa, Arthur Winston Lewis, was even a U.S. ambassador to Sierra Leone, and the femme has some connection to General Colin Powell. Pete did well in school and totally killed it in soccer back in the day. Pete has talked about how growing up in a mostly white neighborhood made him feel kind of different and, at times, out of place. But instead of hiding from it, he's all about embracing his mixed heritage and isn't afraid to speak up about race and representation. He's even rolled up his sleeves for anti-racism work, jamming with a punk band called Race Trader that's all about anti-racist and anti-imperialist messages.
It's my husband Cash, so I do know what that is.
I know who that guy is.
Who is that guy? He's correcting me already.
Next up, Cash Warren. Cash Warren, producer, businessman, and the guy married to Jessica Alba, was born on January 10th, 1979, in sunny LA. His dad, Michael Warren, was a big deal on Hill Street Blues, and his mom, Sue Naramore, kept it real behind the scenes. With an African-American dad and a white mom, Cash grew up with a mix of cultural influences. He went to Yale Yeah, casual Ivy League flex, and majored in political science. Cash got his start in Hollywood as Tim Story's assistant on Fantastic Four back in 2004. That's where he met Jessica Alba, who was playing Sue Storm, and let's just say sparks were flying. They started dating pretty fast.
We met in Vancouver. You were acting in a movie and I was working for a director. And I fell in love with you from the first moment I saw you.
Growing up biracial, and it hasn't always been easy. He faced some real challenges living in a mostly white neighborhood, but he's all about embracing his roots and is super proud of where he comes from. He's not just talking the talk either. Cash co-founded Verso Entertainment, a production company that's all about creating socially relevant documentaries. Through his projects and personal stories, he's showing just how committed he is to pushing for diversity and representation in the media. Cash could probably pass as white though, but can Mariah? Mariah Carey, born on March 27, 1969, in Huntington, New York, is the ultimate diva of pop. With her dad, Alfred Roy Carey, being African-American and Afro-Venezuelan, and her mom, Patricia Hickey, being Irish, Mariah grew up with a pretty unique mix of cultures.
I feel like I was hated on by certain people in my family for having the lighter hair.
Life wasn't all glitz and glam for Mariah, though. She faced challenges with her mixed background, plus her parents split when she was just 3. Her mom, who was a former opera singer, raised her and really nurtured Mariah's musical talent. Clearly, it paid off big time. In her memoir, The Meaning of Mariah Carey, she dives into the ups and downs of her identity and the struggle to feel accepted. Growing up in a mostly white neighborhood, she felt like an outsider who didn't really belong anywhere, whether in the black or white communities. That feeling of not fitting in stuck with her throughout her music career, where she constantly had to deal with how the industry saw her.
I was so upset, and there was nobody came to my rescue at that point, but whatever, I can't, it's ignorance.
But here's the thing. Mariah owns her identity and isn't afraid to use her voice to tackle issues of race and representation. She's all about honoring her black heritage and the huge impact it's had on her life and her music. Another artist who struggled with identity issues is rapper Logic.
I've been on the low, I've been taking my time. I feel like I'm out of my mind.
Logic, born Sir Robert Bryson Hall II on January 22nd, 1990 in Rockville, Maryland, is one of the most recognized names in rap today. Coming from a mixed-race background with an African-American dad and a Caucasian mom, Logic's early years in Gaithersburg, Maryland, were far from easy. His parents struggled with addiction, and his brothers were deep in the drug scene. Not exactly the calmest environment to grow up in.
I don't give a where I am or who I'm around. I let everybody know that I'm proud to be me, I'm proud to be black, I'm proud to be this, whatever the case. And I've had white people treat me like and be like, you.
Logic is all about being proud of his roots and celebrates both sides of his identity. But here's the catch. He often gets seen as just a white guy, which can leave him feeling misunderstood. This white passing thing has sparked some backlash, with people questioning his authenticity and life experiences.
I heard these things from people, and I could have just sat on in with massa and been like, oh yeah, I'm white, that's all good, don't worry, f that. Are you kidding me? No.
In his music, Logic dives deep into topics like race and identity, sharing his own journey and the ups and downs of being biracial. Sure, he catches some heat for talking about these issues a lot, but he's not backing down. He's all about spreading awareness and pushing for more understanding and acceptance. Maya Rudolph is up next. Maya Rudolph, born July 27, 1972, in Gainesville, Florida, comes from straight-up entertainment royalty. Her mom, the legendary soul singer Minnie Riperton, who made that iconic hit, Lovin' You. And yep, she's singing Maya, Maya, Maya as a lullaby for her little girl. Her dad, Richard Rudolph, was also in the business as a composer and has Jewish roots all over Europe.
But this strange connection that it gives me, it just makes you feel like you're part of something so much bigger.
She has opened up about feeling like a total outsider in both the black and white communities. Growing up in a mostly white neighborhood, she often felt different and had a tough time figuring out her identity. Plus, she's been real about the struggles with her hair and how she rarely saw anyone who looked like her in the media. But don't get it twisted. Rudolph fully embraces her roots. She's using her platform to tackle issues of race and representation head-on. This trailblazer is making waves in Hollywood, becoming the first Black woman to snag back-to-back Emmys while pushing for more diversity in the industry.
But if you don't think I have a basis for all the you've pulled over the years I've been here,
Next is Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle, born Rachel Meghan Markle on August 4th, 1981, in sunny Los Angeles, has a pretty wild backstory. Her mom, Doria Ragland, is an African-American social worker and yoga teacher, while her dad, Thomas Markle Sr., is a Caucasian lighting director for TV. Talk about a diverse family tree.
I don't think it's right for kids to grow up thinking these things, that just mom does everything.
Growing up, Meghan dealt with the struggles of being biracial, often feeling like she didn't quite fit into either crowd. Her parents split when she was just 6, and her mom raised her. But instead of letting that hold her back, Meghan crushed it academically and went on to study theater and international relations at Northwestern University. She kicked off her acting career with smaller gigs, but she really hit the big time as Rachel Zane on Suits from 2011 to 2017. During her time on the show, she also became known for her humanitarian efforts, championing gender equality and social justice. Then came 2016, when Meghan's life took a major turn. She started dating Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex. Their relationship became the ultimate media frenzy.
Strengths: fearless, climbing, speed, boomerang, smoldering intensity.
Did you know The Rock is also Black? Dwayne The Rock Johnson, born on May 2nd, 1972, in Hayward, California, has a backstory that's anything but boring. His pops, Rocky Johnson, was a Black Nova Scotian and a wrestling legend, while his mom, Ada Johnson, hails from Samoa and comes from a family that practically invented wrestling royalty. Growing up, Dwayne got a front row seat to both of his parents' cultures and the crazy world of pro wrestling. His granddad, Peter Maivia, was a big-name Samoan wrestler, and his dad was one of the first Black wrestlers to really make a name for himself in the game. Talk about pressure, right? But it also gave Dwayne a solid sense of pride and the importance of hard work.
Somebody is getting their monkey ass kicked all over Dallas.
Growing up, he had to deal with a lot of questions and some discrimination because of his mixed background, especially in the South during the 70s. When he hit the wrestling scene, people often thought he was racially ambiguous. But The Rock set the record straight. He didn't want to be just labeled as a Black wrestler. We have the crazy talented Alicia Keys next.
I just want you close.
Alicia Keys, born Alicia Agello Cook on January 25th, 1981, in New York City, is a total icon in the music world. With a dad who's African-American and a mom of Italian and Irish roots, Alicia grew up in Hell's Kitchen, and her unique background shaped her sound and style big time.
In the middle of an area called Hell's Kitchen on 42nd Street in New York, which was really, at that time, it was really grimy.
Alicia is all about keeping it real when it comes to her Black identity. Growing up in NYC, she felt the pressure of society's expectations and stereotypes, but she's turned those challenges into fuel for her fire. She fully embraces who she is and uses her voice to fight for equality and representation.
The world's rejects all hovered in this area, you know what I mean? I saw the best and I saw the worst. I saw the dark and I saw the light.
She is super passionate about empowering women and tackling issues of race and gender. She's all about making sure everyone gets a fair shot, no matter their background. Through her work with charities like Keep a Child Alive, she's putting her money where her mouth is. In her music and public appearances, Alicia constantly promotes self-acceptance and empowerment, encouraging everyone to own their true selves. Plus, she's not afraid to call for more representation of Black women in media and entertainment. Talk about a queen. Another rock star you will never guess is Black is Slash. Slash Saul Hudson was born on July 23, 1965, in Hampstead, London, and he's basically a guitar god, especially known for shredding with Guns N' Roses. His mom, Ola, was an African-American costume designer who dressed up legends like David Bowie and Ringo Starr, while his dad, Anthony, was a white English artist who designed album covers. Talk about a creative fam. When Slash was just 6, the family packed up and headed to Los Angeles. Growing up in that artsy environment was a game changer for him. Even though his childhood had its bumps, like his parents splitting up and his dad battling alcoholism, Slash found his escape in music. He picked up a guitar as a teen and got totally hooked, jamming out for hours. He said he never really saw himself differently because of his skin color, but he totally gets what it's like for folks facing racism thanks to some early experiences in his childhood. He remembers a little family fear of racial prejudice that shaped how he views race and identity. Tessa Thompson has also got unique views on race and identity.
But it makes doesn't make sense, but it makes...
Tessa Thompson, born on October 3rd, 1983 in LA, is seriously killing it as an actress with a killer range in both film and TV. Her dad, Mark Anthony Thompson, is an Afro-Panamanian singer-songwriter, and her mom's got Mexican and European roots. With that kind of family tree, you know she's got a unique perspective. Tessa spent her childhood hopping between Los Angeles and Brooklyn, soaking up all sorts of cultural influences. She went to Santa Monica High School, where she got her start in theater, and later studied cultural anthropology at Santa Monica College.
Yeah, still trying to figure out how to navigate it, especially inside of Hollywood.
Yeah, because you're very much aware of not where you've placed yourself,
but where
you
you're
understand,
placed.
but where you were placed. And that's sort of infuriating as well.
Tessa's been super honest about her experience as a light-skinned black woman, admitting that she sometimes feels like she doesn't fully represent what darker-skinned black women go through. She's grateful for the range of roles she gets, but she knows that not all black women feel seen by her.
That's a big thing, though, I think, is being able to speak about it. I think being able to acknowledge it when you're in that room and go, something is rotten.
In the movie Passing, she took on colorism and racial identity, and it really hit home for her. She's talked about facing racism and even struggling with her hair texture growing up. Her mom, who's Mexican, was a major influence, helping her fully embrace her blackness and be proud of her roots.
Raspberry! My God, it's muzzy.
Next is Carol Channing. Carol Channing was an absolute legend, actress, singer, dancer, comedian, you name it. Born on January 31st, 1921, in Seattle, she rocked the stage for over 7 decades with her one-of-a-kind voice and larger-than-life energy.
We are such a powerful mixture of every possible race, creed, religion, and everything else around the world.
Most people know her for her iconic Broadway roles, like Lorelei Lee in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and Dolly Levi in Hello, Dolly. She snagged a Tony for Hello, Dolly and brought that role back to life several times throughout her career. On the big screen, she slayed as Muzzy Van Hosmer in Thoroughly Modern Millie, earning a Golden Globe and even an Oscar nomination.
The energy of us is what makes us the strongest nation.
Channing revealed that her dad was of African American and German descent, a fact she only found out as a teenager. Carol kept her background on the down low for most of her career. She didn't want to get typecast in Hollywood or Broadway, especially back then. Revealing she had black ancestry could have meant fewer roles and less opportunity. In her autobiography, Just Lucky I Guess, she opened up about the complicated reality of her identity.
Can't trust everything that you saw on IG. Just know if I diss you, I make sure you know that I hit you like...
Next on the list is J. Cole, one of the realest voices in hip-hop. He uses his music to break down what it's like being black in America, shedding light on the messed up systems and inequality people face every day.
See your son becoming a rapper?
I wanted him to write in some form, you know, so certainly rap being, you know, it's poem, it's poetry.
She bought me that beat machine when I was 15.
Cole's not afraid to get raw about police brutality and the way the justice system's rigged against people of color, calling out the mass incarceration that's still hitting hard. Baseball star Derek Jeter is next.
On, up in the left field, bleachers over the high wall. Derek Jeter hits a home run for the Yankees, and the Yankees take a 2-0 lead.
Jeter. Derek Jeter's background is pretty unique. His dad, Dr. Sanderson Charles Jeter, is African American, while his mom, Dorothy, has Irish and German roots. Growing up biracial, Jeter has talked about how those experiences shaped how he saw the world and how he approached his baseball career. Jeter's parents were a big part of his journey. They taught him the importance of hard work, respect, and perseverance. His mom especially kept him on track with her strict rules and high standards, which he says are the reason he's so disciplined and driven.
There's something else that's even more conclusive. Green built his church on Jeter family land.
That's unbelievable.
He was given the land that used to be part of the plantation.
Derek's been vocal about wanting change, especially after events like George Floyd's murder. He's made it clear that things need to change and has used his platform to call out systemic racism and push for a better future. The next person is a legend with a complicated relationship with race and identity.
Well, I'm a lawyer from Philadelphia, Ed, that comes over here to Ed Lee and finds that Sophia has latched on to my brother's young son.
Clark Gable, the OG Hollywood legend from Gone with the Wind, was kind of complicated when it came to race. On paper, he was all for equality, but let's be real, he grew up in a super segregated time. One famous moment? Back in '39, Gable refused to go to the Gone with the Wind premiere in Atlanta because he wasn't down with the whole segregation thing. And finally, one you won't expect, the infamous FBI director J. Edgar Hoover.
The tendency to judge the strength of the Communist Party by its membership in numbers is fallacious, and I think can lead us into very serious trouble.
J. Edgar Hoover, the super shady former FBI boss, definitely wasn't winning any awards for his racial views. He was straight up racist and used his position to go after civil rights leaders like MLK. Hoover legit saw black folks as a threat, and he made sure the FBI did whatever it could to spy on, intimidate, and mess with black activists. Thanks for hanging out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes stories.